organization. They need somebody so optimistic they go after Moby Dick in a rowboat and take the tartar sauce with them. I mean, basically, that's the kind of individual that they are looking for. Yes, it's great to be a salesperson. Now, hopefully, I've exploded a lot of the myths about the profession of selling and what the salesperson himself or herself really earns. But the question comes up, who is the best salesperson? What type individual or personality makes the best salesperson? For years and years, the general public has been led to believe that it's the extroverted, happy-go-lucky, backslapping, hail fella, well-met, joke-telling kind of an individual who makes the best salesperson. I'm glad you're seated because this might shock some of you. But if we were to divide this audience right here into two groups, one group are all introverts and the other group are all extroverts, I got news for you. The introverts will outsell the extroverts 100 times out of 100. That's right. Now that probably shocks you. Now that doesn't mean that maybe the best salesperson might not be an extrovert. They could well be. But I'm talking about over the long haul. Now why is that? And incidentally, let me hasten to add, the introverts in many cases have acquired some of the characteristics of the extrovert. I mean, they've learned to be a little more outgoing, a little broader smile, a little more enthusiasm, and a little better handshake and this kind of thing. But I'm talking about the nature of the individual. Why would the introvert make the better salesperson? There's several reasons for it. First of all, it is because the introvert is far more likely to be better organized. And they're better students. They study the procedures and the techniques. They're not as likely to sell by the, quote, seat of their pants. They will follow the procedures which are there. Number two, they're more detail-oriented and, incidentally, more people-oriented. They're far more inclined to ask questions to uncover the needs of the prospect and find out what the prospect needs instead of trying to roughshod run over them and dominate them with personality and tell them all about the wonderful merits of their merchandise without finding, first of all, if their needs will be met by what they're selling. Third thing about introverts is, realistically, folks, they're more introverts than they are extroverts. And so they have more people to relate to as far as the process of selling is concerned. So what can those who are extroverts do about it? The same thing that introverts can do. You can acquire the training, the characteristics, and the habits of the introvert, just as the introvert needs to acquire some of our characteristics. And yes, people can definitely do that. This is probably going to shock most of you when I tell you this, because all you've seen me here is in front of a group of folks, and I'm laughing, and I'm talking real loud, and I'm bouncing up and down, and I exude a lot of energy and a lot of confidence and a lot of enthusiasm. So when I tell you this, it's probably going to shock you. But I, too, am an introvert. Very much so. Now, you might think I'm the loudest introvert you've ever seen in your life, but emphatically, I am an introvert. I have simply acquired some of the characteristics of the extrovert. You see, you're not stuck with the way you are. One of the most exciting things I can tell you is that you can change. I can tell that you're what you are and where you are because of what's gone into your mind. You can change what you are and you can change where you are by changing what goes into your mind. And the beautiful thing about the profession of selling is you have an opportunity to be with and around the optimistic, the positive thinkers, the people who are encouraging and building you up and helping you to do more of the good things of life. When you start talking about the salesperson and the kind of individual involved in it, I think one of the most exciting reports I've ever read was put together by the Forum Corporation out of Boston, Massachusetts. They did a considerable study on 341 salespeople. 173 of these salespeople were the top-notch producers. I mean the super productive salespeople. 168 of them were average salespeople. Now, all of them had been selling at least 5 years, so we can eliminate the rookie factor. They came from 11 different companies, 5 different industries. They sold everything from petrochemical, banking, life insurance, real estate, and 1 or 2 other things. But in this analysis, they discovered that from a pure sales knowledge, sales skill point of view, that the 173 top salespeople and the 168 average salespeople all had almost exactly the same sales skills. Each group knew exactly how to get prospects. Each knew how to get appointments. Each knew how to demonstrate features and benefits. Each knew how to handle objections. Each knew how to close the sales. But there was a dramatic difference in the results because there was one factor that the super salespeople had, and that one factor that the other ones did not have in as large a quantity was this word called trust. And my selling friends, listen real good, as I often tell people, this is profound. What they found is this: people don't buy based on what you tell them. They do not buy based on what you show them. They do buy based on what you tell them and what you show them that they believe. Pure and simple, which they believe. Now the question is, who do they believe? It's an old-fashioned answer. They believe the good guys and the good gals. Those who are morally sound, who have honesty and character and integrity as the regular tools in their sales arsenal. You see, the most important part of the sales process is the salesperson. Very important. And you see, that kind of shoots the myth that a lot of people have about the salesperson. The career salesperson understands a lot of things. For example, we learn some things about human nature that helps us deal with our wives or our husbands or our children or our neighbors or somebody like that. For example, as salespeople, on occasion, we do have folks who are a little rude to us. How many of you have ever had a prospect who was rude? Maybe even mean, a little ornery? Would you believe downright nasty? Well, you see, one of the things, not often, fortunately, but it does happen, one of the things we as salespeople learn and understand is this: when somebody is mean and ugly to us, we learn to understand it is not because they want to hurt us, but rather it is because they themselves are hurting. And you see, once we understand that, then we can deal not only with them more effectively, but also with our families and our friends and those whom we love. I believe beyond any reasonable doubt that in America, if every policeman, if every politician, if every school teacher, if every civil service worker, if every individual on any kind of payroll anywhere, if they had to go to a real gung-ho sales meeting every Monday morning before they started walking their beat or delivering the mail or doing whatever job they do, I believe we would have an infinitely better, happier, more excited, producing America. How many of you would agree with that observation? Absolutely.